out in the hallway. When I got here this evening, that door was shut, the lights were all off, and I'm saying, I had to go back and check. Did we move the meeting to another room?
I kept them off. I thought it was cooler in here with the lights off. So.
Yeah, it was quite pleasant.
Very nice.
Thank you, Joe.
We can't always say that, though, when the air conditioning is on.
Me?
We taking a recess for a second?
I guess we'll take a 5-minute recess.
Might as well get the washing out, too.
So I personally thank the,
Renovations.
publicly, the North Reading Fire Department for their quick response in dealing with smoke in my basement. Okay, a town charter.
Yes. My plan wasn't to get into any really great detail on it, but just to confirm that I have the support of the board, that if there was any concerns about going forward in regards to the charter, my goal, or what I'm hoping to do, is making a recommendation that we do go forward to consider some changes, but using the amendment addendum process, which I'm not 100% clear on, and I was hoping to get some guidance, if there was someone you could refer me to get some counsel and some guidance on it. I'm willing to do the legwork. I think we have a pretty good opportunity by stepping out now to start considering some recommended changes to our current charter, but again, I'm not looking to change any of the structural portions, and I'm not sure if any of the board members feel different, but I'm just speaking for myself at this point. But again, I've done all the reading, I've done the research, and the amendment procedure seems to be probably the best step out for us if we're going to do this. It seems to give the Board of Selectmen more control of the process, and we can do it in relatively short time.
Greg has provided the board members some information. You want to kind of summarize that for us?
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to go through quickly. The relevant information that Selectman Prisco referenced is contained on page 2, and it's called the Home Rule Petition Procedure. And what it involves is the submission of an amendment to town meeting in the form of a home rule petition. It must be ratified by a majority vote at town meeting. It then is presented to the legislature. It must be enacted into law by the legislature and signed by the governor. And then, depending upon how detailed that charter amendment is, in certain instances, that special law needs to be voted at the ballot box. And it's not clear in terms of which instances require a vote of the ballot and which don't, but that's what we would depend upon council for, is once that there's an identification of the scope of the charter review, council, Selectman Prisco, in response to what council could provide, town council could provide assistance in terms of whether it would be necessary to seek a vote of the ballot before proceeding. So under a charter review, you do not need to appoint a charter committee. It does say that you may. And there are no timeframe requirements, nor are there requirements for a public hearing, but certainly if you're going to do this, it would make sense that you do, you address both of those, but by statute, neither of those are required. And then it just does give you some pros and cons on the home rule petition versus the charter committee, and then some examples of recent charter amendments that have been done on other towns. And this was information that we got from the Department of Revenue just today.
You know, a couple of things we had talked about, I just want to see how they fit into the process, would be to change the time of the April town meeting, since we've been pushing it out into June.
anyway.
Right. And maybe even changing the election date. Given that, would that kind of a change fit within this special process, in your opinion?
Yes, it would.
It would, okay. Go ahead, Michael.
No, I really want to get the feedback from you four to make sure that you're comfortable with this before we go forward any further. And if anyone has any major objections, I'd like to get it on the table. And if I can provide you some additional information before we go off and we spend a lot of time and get council guidance, I just want to make sure I have the support.
Well, we're scheduled a work session for Wednesday night. You've received information from what we did 2 years ago. You can see there's a number of goals set. A lot of them we're maybe not as far along as we would have liked to have been, but I think we're kind of on target. There are a number of obstacles, obviously, that we've come up with as a result of this economic situation. I believe we've changed town meetings and vote now 3 years in a row. In terms of when one was in May and then the last two were in June. So, you know, maybe what we should do is schedule another discussion of this after our planning meeting. Maybe during that meeting, we might highlight some of the obstacles or things that we might want to look at in terms of changing in the charter that would help us accomplish those goals. Does that make sense?
It does.
Steve?
Yes, you know, are there any other specific proposals you have in mind, Michael, other than the two that the chairman mentioned, you know, changing town meeting and maybe changing an election date?
Yep.
Like what?
The date of town meeting, the day of town meeting. Right now, we do it currently.
Monday, Thursday.
Monday, Thursday. And I'd like to seriously consider, several of the towns have done it on a weekend, and I'm not saying we should hash this out here, but I just want to bring it up for conversation, because our voter turnout consistently is low, and that maybe we'll have a better shot in getting better participation if we did it on a Saturday or a Sunday. And I'd like to research and see what other towns, how they're doing and how well they're doing with weekend voting. The other one is how we produce our annual report, the blue book that you received for 2009. It's extremely expensive. There's much better ways to do it, and in our town charter, and our bylaws have to reflect maybe using automation to have that information available rather than do it in a printed format. Again, saving us a significant amount of money, saving us a significant amount of labor, intensive efforts.
I believe that's also true of the town report. I mean, the town, not the town
the
report.
warrant.
The
The
warrant.
warrant,
Yeah,
right.
report, yeah.
So those types of things, anywhere we could save, have some efficiencies in that whole process. That's where I'm hoping we can step out. And other than that, I'm really not looking to turn things upside down. Maybe we should consider looking at, you know, finance committee. I'd like to go back and read that and understand how it fits in our bylaws and how it fits in our charter. And does that make sense for us where we're at? And other than that, I really don't have any other consideration. I know FinCom is putting together some of their recommendations, the areas they'd like us to consider for charter changes. And I'd also like to have the school committee to consider going off and reading those sections that may affect school committee for consideration of change as well. And we have to open it up to everybody to resubmit their recommendations. I think that's
Okay.
the right thing to do.
Further discussion? Okay, so we will put it back on the agenda for our meeting on the 6th.
For the 6th?
I think it's the 6th, right? Yeah. I want to go back and cover the Verizon easement. Mr. Delaconis?
Please refer to number 6 in your packet. This is for the Tower Hill Cellular Tower, which is operated by T-Mobile. The board had approved an easement identical to this back in January of 2010. The only differences were when the easement was drafted up by Verizon, it neglected to reference the Reading Municipal Light Department. As a matter of fact, in the first paragraph and in the next to the last paragraph on the second page, where it references Reading Municipal Light Department, it incorrectly referenced Massachusetts Electric Company. And that those errors were noticed by Verizon at some point after the 10th of January, and they've requested that the easement be re-voted and re-signed by the board this evening with no other changes.
And do you have a recommendation?
I think we should do it because the town receives a significant amount of revenue. This is a formality that will provide that they can provide data and communication lines up to the cellular tower facility. So it's not actually doing anything on the tank. It's saying that Verizon has a right to lay cables, and the purposes of those cables are to service the cellular facility, which has been previously approved by the board, been approved through town meeting, and as I understand, a special permit had also been approved by the CPC. So this is really just a formality at this point.
Do we need a notary, though?
Yeah.
We do. What I recommend it be voted this evening, and we will leave it with the town clerk. And at your leisure, when you come in, just please stop by the town clerk's office, and she will witness the notarized and signatures.
Okay. Mr. Prisco?
Mr. Chairman, I move to grant the Verizon New England Incorporated an easement for 1 Tower Hill Road, Assessor's Map 43, Lot Number 78.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Prisco,
Second.
seconded by Mr. O'Leary. Further discussion?
My only question is that, on the witness hereof, has caused these presents to be signed in its corporate seal, fixed to by the Board of Selectmen hereon duly authorized this on such and such a date. The attestation by the notary. I don't know, and Sean, maybe you can help me out. Can we come in at individual times? I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think it'd be cleaner. Could Barbara be present on Wednesday, or some notary be present on Wednesday in our meeting then? We can sign it then.
We'll make
No, that's a good idea. If she can stop by, it's,
I mean, it'd be one thing if it had individual provision for each one of us to
Right, but
sign,
it
but
doesn't.
it doesn't. It's all inclusive.
Right.
So.
That's,
so we'll sign it Wednesday.
okay, so you just, we want to
Anything?
just put it on our agenda.
And if
Wednesday,
we can't get a
first-
notary, it'll come up at your next meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, doesn't sound like it's something that we have to get done today.
But we can vote on it, though.
Yes,
Yeah, just
Yeah.
for signature.
we're gonna do that. Anyone else? Okay, on the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Unanimous? Next item on our agenda is a request by Mr. Fitzmaurice, Linda Rapp. And before I invite Mr. Fitzmaurice to the podium, I'm gonna
To
ask
discuss
our
specific
building
issues.
inspector to kind of brief the board on this issue.